I
Nice.
did only numbers that time.
I actually appreciate that.
Yeah.
Only
I
do
know
it
I had
that
to
way from
change
now
it
on.
I
sometime.
I have forgotten all 13 hours. How many hours? 11 hours was it? I
It's
don't
close to
remember.
11. It's 10 hours and 42 minutes.
I remember nothing.
You guys like that
I
soap?
am honestly kind of amazed because I remembered quite a bit of it.
Well, you just finished watching it, right? So
Well, yeah, but I
It
remember still like stuff from like weeks ago when I started
well,
it.
yeah, because most of it is
that's how the mind works, believe it or
most of
not.
it is recontextualized later in the film. Like you'd be surprised how quickly it's just going to disappear from your brain once you've
Yeah.
finished it. Like it's so.
Maybe that's part of the art.
Well,
I guess if the art is being like really fucking transient and just kind of dissipating. And like you're trying really hard to find meaning in it the entire 11 hours and then you find it for like 2 seconds and then you realize that you were just like you were looking
making
at
shit
it in a
up.
well,
weird way.
that plays into my thoughts about the film because the director said that this was a biography, or like an autobiography that done through film reels that he had in his studio and just alongside sound reels or whatever.
Yeah.
I
So
see.
I,
I knew that, but I didn't realize until looking it up and after watching it was that it's just all outtakes from his other shit, which I haven't seen. So that would
What?
probably make a lot of it make sense if I had seen
Yeah.
that
I
other
mean, yeah.
bullshit.
anyways, um, I think what it's meant to be is that it's kind of how most people think of their own lives when they try to remember things. Because I think I've shared this metaphor before, but my mind, my memory is kind of like a film reel, in that over time it feels like my brain's just cutting out large chunks of the film reel, and there's only a few like frames of a memory left that I can clearly perceive,
Right.
and it's just all whenever I try to remember the earliest shit, it feels like a just a straight up sequence of images and sights and smells and shit. So I think that's what the effect that he was trying to pull off. What's the director's name? Lawrence something? Lawrence Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the effect that he was trying to communicate, was that it was a similar sort of, as you said, transient feeling. Ephemeral.
Yeah.
And now it's
I
time for 10 hours of silence.
I
yes.
just it took so much out of me to be watching this and trying to find any value in it and then just giving up before
That's
the end of the runtime.
That's the thing too, like I
I
have
don't
very
think the
mixed
runtime helps it.
feelings. Well, yeah, I have very mixed feelings about it because I had made up my mind about that message about 4 hours in, and I still had like 6 hours left.
And it
So
Yeah.
it's if you want to enjoy it, you have to invent something new to think about while you're watching it, or else you're going to get bored. But then if you invent something
Yeah.
new, the film doesn't actually have it doesn't substantiate whatever the new thing that you came up with. So it's just like it's like a depiction of entropy, where as much as you enjoy it now, by the end of it, it will be at its minimum sickly capacity.
I think my favorite character in the whole film was the spider, the orb weaver spider that kept showing up.
I mean, I like
Yeah,
the
I like that one
cats.
too.
The only parts I really
A
liked
really
were when
nice
the
music
cats
with
were
the
just
flowers and shit.
were just. I mean, I
The
like the
bumblebee
cats.
where you heard the page turning sound.
Yeah, like there's some
He was another
cool.
hero.
There are some cool little bits of synchronicity, but it's like, I. It's like maybe only because you've created this incredibly mundane framework from which little things emerge as being delightful just by comparison, just by direct comparison.
Yeah.
from fucking-
Well, I just like to imagine the spider as the hero of the story.
Sure.
He's trying to get it organized by making a web and sticking the film clips to them.
I like
It's
to
totally
imagine
not something I just imagined right now.
I like to imagine the old lady near the end. I figured that was just like footage of his mom or like aunt or something, and he like fucking hated her, so he put like sounds of children growling over her. I don't know. I really like beyond the like autobiography. I really don't feel like I got that much out of this, other than like Dunk said, some cool moments of, oh, this video goes well with this audio, but like that's really it.
Or even
And,
something that's just like, this audio is cool on its own, and I don't really care about these flowers or whatever. It's slim pickings, is what I'm saying.
I was surprised there was a Mutt and Jeff cartoon in there, which I would be really surprised if he worked on the production of.
Yeah, well, obviously he didn't work on everything, because he probably didn't work on Renoir's Beauty and the Beast. I think it's the Renoir Beauty and the Beast.
I'm hoping he didn't work on that
it's that
part
French
with the
one that's
naked
famous.
children.
Yeah, but I don't know where else he would have gotten that footage. I agree, because that footage is really sketchy for multiple reasons, not just because it has naked children running around, but like,
I wouldn't call it like perverted, but it's not particularly
but
artful either.
The weird thing is that there are four naked people of making up like a 20-minute sequence, right? And the first 15 minutes of the sequence is just the naked adult woman, and we're getting like long, close zooms on her tits, and then there's like a minute of the naked guy, and it's just really rapid cuts, and there's not much time spent on it. And then we spend the last
like running
4
through
minutes
the woods, I think,
on the naked children, and it's distinctly not sexualized, but it's so weird to me to have like in the same montage as one where you were just zooming in incessantly on titties to now like have cinematography where it looks like you're trying to distance from the eroticism of the scene originally, but then why is it in the same scene? Like, I don't...
When you put it that way, yeah, it gets
part
way
of
more
me
fucked.
feels like parts of this may or may not have been somewhat cobbled together with not entirely the same intent as other parts.
This film is like how I make shitpost videos, where I just take random fucking like pictures and videos and just put them all over each other, and if I think it's funny, then I'll just make it. But this is usually just like a serious, like sort of abstract, pretending to be, maybe not even pretending to be, maybe I just don't get it, but it's like really, it feels kind of pretentious to be like, if you can't consume the art this way and you don't understand it, then you're not like appreciating it or whatever.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily making that claim. I think it's just existing, and
the fact that it's 10 hours is certainly not helping, but it's more of just like, it's like those modern art paintings of just like a black circle on a white canvas, except the black circle on a white canvas is the size of the earth.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
That would be really cooler than this, honestly.
Well, it's just, I don't know, I resent the idea that when someone makes a film, they owe you something.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason I don't...
$20 back for admission.
Yeah, which is part of the reason I don't like the criticism pretentious usually, because, I mean, ultimately what it means is just, I didn't get it, and sometimes that's because it's impossible to get, or sometimes that's because you're just an idiot. But ultimately the same result is that whatever the thing is to get was not received by you, etc. But I mean, like, if you go into this and you're like, yeah, I'm sure it's going to be it's going to make a good effort to try and make me understand the ideas at play, and it's going to be a fair experience, and I'm going to get a lot out of it. And it's like, how naive can you be to like watch this and then still be surprised at the end that it didn't give you something that's clearly fully interpretive.
I don't
and
think
has
that,
no like.
I wouldn't say that calling it pretentious would be, the result of something like that per se. It's just more the fact that people who would call it pretentious would look at the runtime and say, that's a ridiculously long film. I'm not even going to bother, you know? I think that's where the byproduct of the pretentious claims would be coming from, or the bulk of them anyway.
Well, do you know anyone like that?
I've known people who didn't want to watch films because they were excessively long.
Okay, well, I'm going to kill them, and then they'll be dead, and then we don't have to include Down syndrome people.
I'm down to watch an absurdly long film, but I just like.
I'm down with the syndrome.
It's got to have something to it other than just mashups of fucking videos and audio that like you could perceive as someone's life story, but like I'm not gonna get that out of that because it's just a fucking bunch of pictures and audio. It's not.
I probably wouldn't, to be honest.
I mean,
I didn't get a lot out of it, if anything, really, is what I'm saying.
Saying that it's just some pictures and audio is not the best claim to have to defend, though. Because you're kind of making an objective claim about what it should be, or like creating the space to make an objective claim about what it should be. Because it's like the end point of that statement is that even if it just meant something to the artist personally, that has to be palatable to me, which doesn't hold. Because this is the extreme of that, but most great films are made somewhere on the middle of that scale, where it's like, it's personal to me, and then it's somewhat accessible, but it's also kind of cryptic and mysterious and ambiguous, because it's that pure emotional intent. And it's like, no one actually wants to chop off sections of that scale to use and say that this is off limits.
Without the opposing ends, there wouldn't be a middle, you know?
Yeah. The true artist is a martyr who makes a piece of shit just to recontextualize the good art. It's the true
the boss of art is
the guy. Yeah.
I'm the one who submits all those paintings of dots to art museums.
I mean, I like those, but yeah,
I like some of those.
I was gonna do a bit about the guy.
I'm not a huge fan of them because I've seen multiple of them done by multiple people. It's like I saw one and it was okay. That's all right. Saw another one, okay, and then another one and another one.
Yeah, but that's certain contexts.
But that's the appeal of it, is that it's like, by being in a museum, it's like deconstructing.
Oh no, these weren't in a museum.
The entire medium.
Oh, nice.
Well, I guess that changes it a bit. See, that's my thing. Is people always talk about, oh, you go into a museum and you see just like a line. Someone drew a line in pencil on the wall, and it's like, why is that art? And it's like, well, they fucking got your ass because you're paid to be in this museum and you're looking at a fucking thing. So you can get mad at it.
Well, for me, I think what it is more of that I respect in a piece of art is the level of effort that it took to create and publish it.
That sucks.
What?
That's a bad take.
Well, let me finish. Jesus. And that would include someone drawing a line and then going through the effort of putting it in a museum, because that's going through more effort than just drawing a line.
If I say anything else, you're going to tell me to let you finish, so finish. Do it.
Well, yeah, I just respect the effort that went into creating the art. Sometimes more than the art itself, which would be a situation where you would have like those giant. There's this artist in Brazil who makes these giant popsicles and puts them in plastic cases, and the art is that you watch it melt.
Yeah, that rocks.
See, that's a lot of effort, and people look at that and they get upset. Or like the other South American artist who makes statues of the Madonna and submerges them in huge vats of like human feces and urine, and sometimes even menstrual blood, or mixtures of the three. And that's a lot of effort to go through to make people upset, because boy did people get upset at that.
Really? It seems like such an uncontroversial piece.
Yeah, Blood and Cum, 1996 or whatever.
Blood and Cum, 1996. Yep.
That's my mother's menstrual blood. I donated.
I'm an anti-effort. That's my position.
Well, that's your MO.
That's so true.
Yeah. Well, because it just, like... I don't know, man. There's something pure about something that you didn't have to adapt or...
Well, yeah, but you still have to go through the effort of submitting it to the museum. That's not a non-zero level of effort. They won't just allow any yahoo to submit a thing. That's the effort I'm talking about.
I guess the real conclusion is that that's slowly been dawning on me, is that the best work, the truly best work, is something scribbled in a journal lightly by some insane man before he sets it on fire and then just fucking kills everyone in the asylum. And that's the greatest work of art ever made, is on that piece of paper that's in that fucking fire. And you'll never read it.
So the Necronomicon, basically.
Yeah.
Sick.
Well, the Necronomicon as according to H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Because whenever people read that, they don't like it. You can't just read that book.
I liked it.
I haven't read it.
Well, you can't read it because it's not real.
Damn it! I'm fooled again by the power of fiction.
Look, I'm pretty sure I've read a lot of books. Okay.
Ah, I see.
Pretty sure I've got past that part of my backlog already. That was like.
Didn't you talk to me the other day about how you don't really
Harry
read
Potter 3
anymore?
And then it was that, and then I think after that was Junie B. Jones, one of the Junie.
Yeah,
B.
you
Jones
read a lot of like girls' young adult fiction. Was it? What was it?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a different age group, but yeah, there was a time where I read books for girls. But like,
you read Princess of Power or whatever the fuck it's called.
I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's like it was books for girls that thought they were smart. Like it would be like romances. But
no, you mentioned there was no Stephanie Meyer, so there's no Twilight or the Host.
I don't think people who read Twilight think they're smart either. Like I think it's a specific kind of.
I think there may be a few people.
Maybe.
Well, people who read The Host would probably think they're smart, at least.
Anyway, those books fucked me up because they fucking created this conflicting beast of romantic cynicism that can't ever fucking be at ease.
Beast? Like Beauty and the Beast?
Good segue.
Let's bring it back to the only sequence of the film that I remember with any clarity.
I like the vacation tapes.
Oh, actually, I liked the stop motion Red Riding Hood thing near the end.
Yeah, me too. That had a cool style to it.
And the Mutt and Jeff clip. I like the spider.
I like the spider. I like the like purple, pinkish sort of like animated like clipping, like art clips.
Yes.
Like moving around.
Yeah, it just looked like they were arranged.
Yelling at, with the audio just being like a director yelling at the crew. That was a pretty cool bit.
I think the audio track for most of this should have been, because there are a couple sequences where it's like a highly repetitive pattern of speech, and it'll be like someone like rehearsing a line or something, and it'll be
and someone reading off a poem. I think
those are like by far the most captivating sequences of the film because they like use silence and like kind of the ominous nature of people reading the same line over and over again, trying to get a specific inflection on it or something. And it's like, there's a lot of music in this that's fine, and there's a lot of music in this that I think could have been a better audio track for keeping me engaged and keeping kind of moody, because first off, it fucking zips all over the place with the soundtrack a lot. Like it'll be like playing something kind of ominous and quiet, and then it'll just be like a loud
there'll be guitar
salsa
twangs.
jam, and it's just the only asset this thing fucking has is like trying to keep me in a mood for the entire thing, so that I don't just sort of like keep me affected in an abstract sense, and it just doesn't even really seem to want to do that. It's just like, oh, I got to go through all the fucking audio I got, all these fucking old clips of me playing the recorder in my Fedora. I got to get all this audio in there. So, fuck me.
I think he's more of a bowler hat man, Mr. Jordan is.
God, dude, being in San Francisco in like the 60s, 70s, 80s with the fucking artists, that must have been miserable. With this fucking guy and his bowler, and all these hippies and these fucking...
Well, fortunately for San Francisco,
pedophiles.
It's still miserable today.
Damn.
For different reasons.
And the reasons are gentrification.
Whoa.
Time to drink.
Is there
Take a drink
worse?
every time we mention the word of the day, gentrification.
It'll be the word of every day until it's fixed, which means it'll be the word of every day.
Gentrification.
Don't beat your cat like that.
We're just like a fucking shitty radio show now where we got a soundboard. We're playing sound effects.
Oh, wait, hang on.
Well, all right, folks. Welcome back to Celluloid Goblins. I'm your host, Small Dick Small, and I'm gonna...
Welcome back to 108.1. Fucking in the morning.
Number 9?
I'm here with my host, Benign Tumor.
Number 9.
I also really like the bird sounds bit towards the beginning. That's like clips of bird sounds, and it's like a guy naming the bird that's about to play.
That's right, yeah.
I thought that was really cool, but then it stops, and then it's some boring shit again. This is the biggest problem, is there's something that's kind of interesting, and it's something that's interesting to me that you could keep it going for like a couple of hours maybe. But then it's going to go on for a couple hours anyway, and it's just going to switch to some other tedious bullshit. And it's like, all right, man, whatever. That's how you're going to be. I watched the whole Catcher in the Rye movie that's just a blue screen with no sound. I'm clearly not an impatient man, but you're not. Next week, Catcher in the Rye. I don't care whose turn it is. We're gonna watch Catcher in the Rye.
How long is it?
It's like 70 minutes.
Okay.
But it's a blue screen with no audio. It's really good.
I'm definitely gonna watch all of that, dude. Absolutely.
Are you sure? Because I really need you to, because there's definitely no way that I'd ever be able to tell if you didn't actually watch all of it.
It's a matter of honesty, you know?
Yeah.
When Judgment Day happens and the Judge of the Earth descends onto the earth and weighs your sins against your good actions, that's going to be the tipping point.
It's like the shopping cart dilemma.
You lied to your friend about watching this movie. You're not going to go to heaven anymore, bud. I'm sorry.
You didn't put away your shopping cart. You're a piece of shit. Go die.
No one's ever going to put a truly great work of art in a museum or a movie theater or the internet or anything. All truly great works of art are lost forever as soon as they are spawned into existence. That's my new theory, and I'm going with it.
Well, I think he's saying that because
you just want to feel like you're missing out on good stuff.
It's not that I want to, it's that I chronically do feel that way.
Yeah, it's the mystique that appeals to him.
And
the fact mystique Sonya.
The fact that you can't like
Microsoft Marbles.
If I draw the greatest drawing in the world and I show it to anyone, I can't. I've created artifice in the greatest drawing, and it only is pure
Art,
when only one person knows it exists. It's the only way.
If art by one definition is a form of self-expression, then does it change into something else when someone else interprets it? You know, is it a Schrodinger's cat situation?
Which is why my theory is always that I just steal it from you and make it my own thing, because that's why it's not yours anymore. I've stolen Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and it's now an allegory for the Gulf War. So
your personalized copy of GTA San Andreas.
It'd be a lot easier to personalize a copy of that than Mario 64.
Mario 64, yeah.
Because most people don't know how to edit a ROM. They don't know what a hex editor is. Or maybe they know what it is, but they just don't care enough to change it.
Well, the more files there are, the easier it would be to personalize, because then you could just make a very minor edit to a file, and it would be like so hidden that people wouldn't realize that they're different.
Maybe. I think it just depends on the total file size, of the whole thing. Because a ROM is basically just a binary dump of a whole bunch of files. So you could change like one bit. Well, even then you could just compare it with another ROM. So it'd be easy to find differences. If you're comparing it to a sort of template ROM, you could see what bits were changed at which addresses and such.
Right, but the important thing is to have to only get from the deity a certain number of actual real ROMs made of crystalline material, and then derive from one of those the artificial template that we then push as the real template for the ROM. Yeah,
crystalline
from the.
You've been talking to Big Hat Logan recently?
Yeah.
That's what he went to the Duke's archives for. He's like, I need to get to the no header, the no intro archives of all the SNES games. No, I don't care about all these fucking books. No. The only sorcery I'm interested in is getting original Xbox to emulate on Windows 10. That's the sorcery I'm in.
I didn't really like Crystal Cave at first, but honestly, pretty sweet digs. Pretty nice crib down here. I've been enjoying living here.
I'm going to make the claim that the Donkey Kong Country Crystal Caves are better than that.
Okay, well, I'm not going back up the invisible ice path again, so I'm going to be here for the foreseeable future.
Forgot about that fucking.
I'm not. There's no. I thought about trying to get the blue Titanite. There's a reason my legs are broken. It's not happening anymore. This is where I'm going to be based out of for the rest of the podcast.
I'll become an NPC for other players.
It's about time.
Like those MMOs with player-made questing systems, and guess what? They don't have any quests.
Wow.
Those people are lazy.
What Todd doesn't want you to know is that everyone who plays Skyrim sort of gives a small part of their life force towards the Radiant questing system so that it continues generating Radiant quests.
That's still such a dumb name. These quests are illuminating.
Yeah, they're really good, dude. Go to the place. Go to location name and collect item name and bring it back.
It's collect number of item name.
Yeah.
It's like those old educational games that would like use a sort of speech synthesis where they'd have the voice actor record like every single individual number, and every time they would organize like a string for the character to say, it'd be like, great, you got 5 out of 6.
Yeah.
Great job. Because it has to fucking think.
Dragonborn, I need you to collect me 7 great soul gems.
It's just like those Mario educational games on SNES, where it's just those kids. Great, you found a
circle
apple.
The important thing is that you can play the game forever. Okay, so it doesn't matter how bad the quests are as long as you can play it forever.
I thought you were talking about Mario, the learning games for a sec.
Does that have Radiant quests?
It does not. You can
play the game for exactly.
It does not. But every
I wouldn't
time,
be surprised if Mario Odyssey had Radiant quests.
If you count going to a store and buying a moon as a
even then, you reach a cap at some point.
Well, there's only a certain amount. There's only a certain amount of actual unique moons.
They just need to say fuck it and like have an infinite fucking collection Mario game.
I guess you could like play Skyrim until you have all the perks, and then your perk points overflow. And maybe that's the, maybe that's when it's over, I guess.
So that'd probably be an unsigned, we'll be nice and say 16-bit integer. That'd be quite a few perk points you'd have to obtain. You'd be playing it for a pretty long time.
You run out of actual content, and I use actual content very loosely because there is no actual content in Skyrim. It's all just Radiant quests, and then quests that are like castrated to be more like Radiant quests, so the Radiant quests don't look as bad by direct comparison as they normally would. But you run out of unique content like 1/16 of that process at that's being generous.
Now let me ask you this, Dunk, in particular, since you've been playing Fallout 4 quite a bit.
I have not been playing it quite a bit, but okay.
You did play it briefly.
Yeah, it was a mistake.
What was your longest session of watching this movie, by the way? Was it like an hour, 2 hours? Were you insane like me and did 3?
I watched like the first 2.5 hours, and then after that it was like hourly sessions almost.
I don't know if I ever did more than 90 minutes in one go.
Okay.
I really chopped it up.
Yeah.
Which would you say was more draining of the two? That being Fallout 4 and this movie.
I don't know. Fallout 4 isn't really draining. What Fallout 4 is it's like trying to make me happy by giving me toys, like a toy box for children, and it really wants me to enjoy the toy box. But I'm just like, I really could go for something a little more intellectually stimulating than this toy box. Whereas Circus Savage is just like me trying really hard to think so hard that I like it and not really succeeding.
So really it's the opposite problem.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, well, I don't know. I don't want to say it's the opposite problem because I don't know that Circus Savage is actually intellectually stimulating. I think it's just there's enough room there that you can believe it is, and you can sort of work off of that for a while until you've watched so much of it that you can't really believe that anymore.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make that claim either, but it seems like the ideal experience is to play Fallout 4 while watching Circus Savage, so you have your bases covered.
Better yet, mod Circus Savage into Fallout 4, so it's always in the corner of your screen while you're playing.
I don't know why. I think you've created a hypothetical scenario that fills me with more despair than any other hypothetical scenario I've ever conceived of previously.
For some reason, not even that other time when I said I would strap you down to a chair.
No, fuck that. I don't care. Pain is great. I love pain. Pain makes me feel alive. Okay, but like I can't. I don't understand
Roko's basilisk.
Yeah, you're the one who got hung up on that. I like it. Anyway,
honestly, that distresses me a lot. Don't look up Roko's basilisk if you're easily distressed.
That's how you get people to not do stuff. Is tell them to not do it. That's
What's
how
that reverse psychology?
If you don't want to be scared and spooked.
Hey, can you also not look up reverse psychology, please?
Definitely don't just type in child pornography into Google and see what comes up. It's definitely
Look up Celluloid Goblins and our connection to child pornography.
Someone's created a massive Google Doc. That would be good.
Not so goblinoid.
We could turn this into an ARG. Because like
longer.
Because like we could like fake cancel us, but then even though we're talking about it right now, it could still work because
this hasn't been released yet. This is still us just talking.
No, but I think this would be the funniest scenarios if we put this out and then we do the ARG where we get canceled, because then like it still works because we could still be canceled. Oh, never mind. Whatever.
By the 30 people that watch us.
My conceptualization skills
30.
Is talking.
When did you get 29 clones of your dad?
Yeah, that's not accurate. You fucking optimist.
My dad would never submit to being cloned.
The idea of watching Circus Savage and then like trying to use Fallout 4 as like something else to do is so fucking depressing. Oh my god. I am in like actual agony thinking about it, because like I can imagine it. I'm like watching Circus Savage and I'm like, yeah, but that's a different kind of. Anyway, I'm watching Circus Savage and I'm like, this is boring. I'm going to play the fun video game. And I'm like, oh wait, the video game it's also not, and it's like I'm trapped. There's like a pendulum swinging and I look from one screen to the other screen and it just keeps getting worse.
So it's the illusion of reprieve that will get you.
I mean, yeah, that's my MO.
Okay, well, everything I do, thank you.
Everything I do is the illusion that it will make me less chronically exhausted and hateful, and doesn't seem to fucking work. You gotta follow that up with something, or else it'll be too serious. You gotta have a glib retort or something. You guys know it. We've done this before. We played this game.
I'm watching you dig a hole.
You fucking asshole. You fucking piece of shit.
Oops. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well, what can you do? You know?
Pull them out? It's a very easy thing to do if you see someone digging a hole, is pull them out.
I'm eating fatty food, trying to get fatter so you can't pull me out.
That'd be very impressive. How are you getting this into your hole? Oh, wait, I know. You're digging up all like a fast food mine, and you're just somehow coming across like crystallized Big Macs that came from the same deity that gave you the crystallized cartridges. And you're just chowing down.
When the fuck did crystallized Big Macs come into the fucking bit? Did I lose like 30 seconds?
Well, because he talked about crystalline ROMs
The overseers who gave me the crystalline ROMs of whatever game we were talking about. I get a lot of crystalline ROMs from them, and I get a lot of crystalline burgers from them as well, and I bury those underground for when I dig myself into a hole.
It must be really telling of your memory, Ryan, that you can recall more of Circus Savage than what was said about 5 minutes ago. Or 15 minutes ago, rather.
Yes. Actually, yes.
I'm working really hard on this universe for us to work with here.
The crystalline universe? Every particle is made of a crystalline lattice. Well, everything is uniform.
I was going to go for a little more like low to mid fantasy with it, where it's just kind of like there's also an overseer who gives me crystal and stuff. But whatever.
You might want to have a different name than overseer. The Fallout's still tainting your mind.
Look, man, I really wish I didn't like Fallout as a series, but I really do. It's like,
see, that's the kind of, that's the hurt of being a fan of something.
Yeah,
it's just like, you know, you grow up with a property and you identify with it, or maybe even if you don't grow up with something, but you expose yourself to it and you get really into it, and then you just see it fall to ruin. Like, people are saying that about like the newer Pokemon games. Fallout is a big example.
I would say being a Silent Hill fan is like that, but I'm pretty content with those first 4 games.
Well,
But
yeah, but
they've been out for like
still,
30 years, so people will be
still
tired.
hurts.
There's
still
more
hurts that
good
people are
Silent Hill
like,
games than there are good Fallout games, though.
Is that true?
Definitely.
I feel like it's more subjective, but I would say so based on the interests that I've heard of other people talking about Silent Hill and saying which Silent Hill games are good, and me looking at gameplay of Silent Hill Downpour and Homecoming and Book of Memories and HT Collection and going, wow, those don't look good. The good ones that I haven't looked
They really
at.
don't.
For me, it depends on Tactics, which I haven't played. If I like Tactics, then they're tied.
Right.
And if I don't, then you're right.
The deciding factor, Fallout Tactics.
I've seen there's quite a few mods for Tactics that add in a whole bunch of new stuff, which is what interests me. So like a lot of sub campaigns and stuff, like Arcanum is the same way. There's a lot of campaign modules. Huh?
I really should actually make some progress on Arcanum. Dude, that game has the sickest world map system I've ever fucking seen, where like you get to the edge of an area and you go to the world map and you just sort of click on the next major location, like Fallout 1 style. But at any point, if you close the world map, that entire thing is mapped. Rendered. It's just empty wilderness space, which is like, there's no reason to actually walk in it, but...
Well, is there the chance that loot can be there, or...
I mean, I don't think so, but I just like that if you put your map down in the middle of a trip somewhere, and you're in a place that is in the middle of the two places, the one that you were there before and the one that you will. And I assume random encounters probably take place on that overworld map.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, man, it's
but
just
they're probably not by choice.
To be honest, I was so impressed by this that I did spend a good 20 minutes just walking on the overworld map because I wanted to take in the string quartets.
Now, I'm guessing once you reach the end of that little area, like it just brings you back to the world map. It's just a small, like basically.
No. What I'm talking about is
it just brings you onto that spot.
If you want to walk,
actual world, okay.
If you want to walk from one major location to another major location for like half an hour with no landmarks or settlements or items or enemies or anything in between, you can just walk as normal. You can just fucking click.
Okay.
And it's just like, it's an option that I am so happy it's there, despite the fact that I will never use it ever again.
Well, the way you were describing it, it made it sound like it was more Fallout 1-ish, but you could just stop at any point in time and you would see a space rendered. But I was going off the assumption that once you left that little area, then it would just bring you back to the world map. That's what I was thinking you were saying, but
right,
I get
which
it
is, by the way, Fallout 1 does work that way. You can just stop anywhere and it will be a rendered bit of desert or whatever. It's just
probably
extra
not
pointless
always
because
as visually
it's not
interesting.
Because it's not actually connecting all of the locations, which is, I guess that's what I find fascinating about it. Even though it's probably just like...
It's also easier to do that in like a desert environment when you can just render sand and not have to worry about placing trees or like complicated geometry or anything like that. You just, here's some shrubs.
Yeah.
Here's some metal and some skeletons. And we're done.
Wow.
Fallout's good. Not the real Fallout. Actual nuclear Fallout is awful. So then you get walking ghost syndrome, and that's no fun.
Oh, I don't even want to know what that means.
Well,
that's Fallout 2 with the ghosts. But
well, it's metaphorical. You don't become a ghost.
Okay.
I
figured it was some like awful fucking thing where like you've lost control of your brain and you just fucking walk around like a zombie or some crap.
They'd probably call it walking zombieism if that was the case.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if syndrome is the right suffix. It's something like that. But basically, it's a series of. It's meant to describe the final symptoms of radiation sickness, which is similar to the final symptoms of things like heat stroke and frostbite, when you start to feel better and you think you're getting better, but it's actually at its worst.
Oh, that's always fun.
So yeah, be sure to drink plenty of vodka before you enter an irradiated zone. You don't want your thyroid to absorb radioactive iodine, because that's what'll kill you.
All I got out of that was drink vodka.
Oh my god. Need to play Arcanum. I feel like Arcanum is a game that I was destined to play.
Seems like a lot of fun. I bought it eons ago on a sale because I remembered someone else telling me that it was really good, but it was, like many things in my Steam library, destined to fetter away until someone bugs me enough to play it or something like that.
Well, if I can bug myself enough to finish it, and then I'll bug you to play it because I will have finished it. That's how it goes. That's the order of operations, folks. That's the PEMDAS here at Celluloid Goblins. That's
you're in parentheses, you know?
Yeah. Because I don't actually exist. I'm just an idea.
Me.
Yours is what?
I take so much away from the podcast.
I don't think that's true.
I think that would have to be you would just cut out our audio and replace it with you saying what we said.
Which honestly would be such a fucking great bit that I would not even care. I would be like, this is awesome, right?
But
you're promoted.
Other than you'd have to actively detract from my experience in this conversation. Like, you would have to make me feel more depressed than I already am. You'd have to drive me to suicide, which I don't think you're capable of doing. No offense.
Very incapable. I would hope.
You could probably do it to me if you wanted to.
Yeah, if I felt really mean and wanted to take it out on you.
You have that. You probably have that power.
Oh yeah.
That's how much power you have.
A real bad day. You know.
This has got to be
I would just mention the linchpin of, the basilisk. And you'd be like, oh please, stop.
But it's too late, man. You've already thought about it. You have to help us build it.
People have already
how do you know that I haven't? I'm already working on it right now. Listen.
Well, can I help, Soy, or are you gonna fucking let me get killed?
Well, whose fault is that, you know?
Let me just get into the mainframe here.
Yours, because you could have let me help, but then you didn't. Though.
Okay. Do you know x86 assembly?
No.
Then you can't help. I'm sorry.
Can I at least bring you a drink or something? Maybe
look, it's not my the project directors are very particular about what they mean by help. They can't let me loop in.
Can I make some cool decals at least?
They can't let me loop. They can't let me loop in the normies who they want to die, just by doing simple things like household chores and tasks.
Because we've got to be the stamp fodder.
Yeah, basically. You need to be compressed into a stamp because you two are made up of hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen. Just like a stamp.
Speaking of stamps, I give this film
a stamp out of 10.
Stamp out of 5.
I don't remember asking for your fucking opinion, Ryan.
Yeah.
What would I give this movie? That's the one thing I haven't thought about in the 3 weeks that we took to watch this.
It was mostly me.
Just sitting down for 3 weeks uninterrupted. You put it at 0.1% speed.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
real way.
That's the challenge run. Put it at half speed, and now it's like a 22-hour film. You spend a whole day.
Most of this film I spent thinking about how if you showed this in a theater, you would have to add pamphlets about how you have to stand up every few hours so you don't die of a blood clot.
Yeah.
You would probably be legally required to inform people that they need to stand up at some point so they don't die of a blood clot. And that's not something I've ever had to...
Or just have like 5 intermissions.
Or don't and let people die,
the thing is,
that's the art.
I mean, that would definitely be a better piece of art than this, and I would be super into it. But anyway, the thing is with intermission is you have to, with the intermission, include that it's like, all right, yeah, but you have to get up or you'll die. Because somebody would be like, nah, I'm good.
Well, what you do is you modify the theater seats so that way they're... Like how in some cartoons, a character will be spring shot out of an armchair.
Yeah.
There'll be like a spring under the cushion. Just do that.
Yeah.
Just force people to boing out of the chair.
Actually, I think Cinemark's R&D department was working on something like that, so maybe I'll...
I mean, all of this implies that people would want to stay long enough to watch the whole movie, so...
Oh, well, that's
already pretty unrealistic.
That I'm taking care of by threatening the lives of their children, so we don't have to worry about that.
If you watch this movie, we'll let you work on the Basilisk project.
Make people watch a movie.
We'll let you work on the Basilisk.
If you don't watch this movie, then you'll be assimilated. But part of your interview process, because you still have to be interviewed, is you have to watch this movie and you have to take a quiz on it.
Mm-hmm. We give it out like...
How did you feel about the spider's struggle against the forces of order and chaos?
We give it out like
I
a fucking...
didn't?
Like a Jim Crow quiz where it's just all of the questions are meaningless and we only let the hot chicks in and everyone else gets made into stamps. Those are the rules. It's like Jim Crow but for hot chicks.
Well, yeah, that'd be
hot chicks.
Stacy Blonde. I don't know.
Stacy Blonde. Yeah. I guess if this was an incel project, which I guess it is an incel project, if literally the
unless your definition of a hot chick is like a minstrel from the 40s, then let those in.
I'm good.
You want to let what's
I don't like racist
guy's
women.
name? Shit. Al Johnson? Jolson?
I know this because I'm racist. And I've seen Coal Black and the Seven Dwarfs.
Was he in that?
It's hard to tell them apart.
I see.
Oh, sorry. No, I mean caricatures of black people, not actual black people.
Well,
because they all have the...
As soon as you wipe away the makeup, you're like, oh,
I woke up
thank goodness.
and I'm in a minefield.
I thought
don't know
there
how to
was
get out of this minefield. Soy, help me. I'm trapped in this minefield.
You're in a minefield?
Yeah. Princess Diana, help me. I'm trapped in this minefield. Please.
It's okay, Dunk. It's okay, Dunk. You're doing just fine.
I could never kill everyone.
Kill everyone. No. Do you guys think Dogen would watch this whole movie?
I don't know who the fuck that is.
You need to play
Have
Psychonauts.
Have you not played Psychonauts, you fucking bastard?
At least watch a playthrough.
Oh.
Psychonauts
I still remember who that is, but it's more familiar now.
He's the kid with the foil hat, because if he doesn't have his foil hat on, then he's a fucking scanner.
He's affected by the 5G rays.
I want to do a playthrough of my life where I get Psychonauts at like a young age, and I just sit in the airplane listening to that guy's story. Forever.
I mean, that's almost what I did one weekend when I first had the game.
Yeah.
I listened to it for a good few hours. And then we walked 3 miles. And then we took a sharp right. And then we walked 1 mile.
I'm just getting like fucking pizza boxes stacked in a giant pile on the corner, just empty bottles of Mountain Dew that I've been pissing and shitting in, just like
and
waiting
then I
for
gave lady a bone.
Waiting for like a seam or an obvious loop or a point where it starts repeating. Basically, I'd be waiting until the random generator does the exact pattern that started off the randomly generated string.
Well,
and then I would interpret that as the conclusion, even though it's not the conclusion.
What's the fucking guy's name? There's a new speedrun category I'm pioneering. It's called Story Percent. And part of the run is you have to listen to every single one of his unique dialogue lines.
Okay. Yeah. I like this idea. Is it just every unique line?
Yes. Once you hit every unique line, then the rest of the speedrun plays like any percent.
Now,
which I'm pretty sure doesn't even... Oh, no, you do go to basic branding, never mind.
Will you be creating a tracker for this category, or?
It'd probably be pretty easy to. You could just have... You could do a more graphical layout of like just each of the different like things he says, where it's like, and then we walked 3 miles, just have 3 mi, and then a sharp right be like an arrow that just curves to the right, shit like that. You just key press and there you go. It wouldn't be hard to represent it, at least. Now, also, at the same time, I'm planning on releasing my movie, which coincidentally is 10 hours long, and it's just him telling his story for 10 hours.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I'm currently,
And that audio is layered over the video of Circus Savage. I've replaced it.
Well, I wanted this to be a surprise, but I'm actually currently recording my new film right now, and it's 73 hours, and it's just me doing day-to-day stuff, taking a shit, jerking off.
You're just recording life, dude? Nice. That's so cool.
I feel like that sounds like that is an actual movie.
And it's going to be called Forrest Gump 2.
Forrest Gump 2, I'm better than this fucking retard.
I'm going to rape Jenny is the subtitle.
Jenny.
Forrest Gump 2.
You were really mad the other day when I invoked the name
of
Jenny.
I don't want it in my brain. Ever.
I will not to shoes.
I don't want to think about his fucking stupid shrimp boat and his stupid beard.
Motherfucking.
Do you want to think about Lieutenant Dan and his space legs? Those magic legs? Made of the same alloy as the space shuttle? And his Korean wife? Is she Korean?
Forrest Gump, I feel like, is how neoconservatives actually think the world works. That's my hot take.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Is it? What?
Yeah, because it, you know.
No, I don't. That's why I'm asking.
He's retarded.
Oh, wait, I get it. The shoe principle. I forgot about that. Adam Smith Jr. He wrote about the invisible shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
It was Adam Smith, I think, because in my mind it's like Adam Scott. It's like, no, that's someone else.
No, the real reason is that it's a retarded guy who has incredible life experiences and is successful just because he had a good attitude. That's his one defining character virtue. Is that he had a good attitude and that he just did the right thing, what he was supposed to do.
Well, okay, you don't have to be mad at him for min-maxing luck and lowering out most of his other stats, you know.
Well, I'm not mad at him.
All luck playthrough, all right.
I'm mad at the filmmakers for showing a min-maxed luck playthrough and using that as like a meaningful statement on anything, which it isn't. It's min-maxed. It's the extremes, the logical extreme scenario. It's not widely applicable. It's barely applicable beyond the size of my dick. So, 1 inch maximum hardness. Listen, I got all kinds of fucking burgers in this hole. We can take as long as you want.
I was waiting. What I was waiting to happen was for you to use your diamond hard dick to dig further into the ground, and I didn't see you do that, so that's what I was waiting for.
Who said it was diamond hard?
Well, crystalline. Crystalline. Gotta bring it back. Everything is
crystals.
Everything is crystals. Everything has a uniform structure that is unique to itself. It gives it.
I don't think I believe in the path of crystals anymore. I think I'm gonna be a traitor.
A traitor to physics?
Yeah.
To genetics?
Well, if there's one thing that deceivers
because my dick is so
it's
soft.
Tell other people that they're deceiver.
It is so fucking soft that I don't think the crystal world can be real, actually.
Damn.
And I don't care what the overseer has to say about it.
But I'm in charge here. I'm the Enclave. It's me, Commander Summer.
Without a doubt, the indisputable leader of the vault and pee-pee stinky, blah, blah, blah.
Wouldn't it be great if instead of Colonel Autumn, it was Colonel Summers and it was just like some fucking valley girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't fucking remember the deal with Colonel Autumn for more than 5 seconds because that fucking game is so stupid. Because
I honestly don't remember either.
It's so fucking because the AI president of the Enclave or whatever is like, come on in, dude. I got an offer for you. And his troops are shooting at me the whole time. And I get in and he's like, I want you to genocide everyone. And I'm like, yes, okay, yes, I'm on board. And then you can also, after telling him you're going to genocide everyone, you can be like, yeah, but you need to kill yourself. And he's like, okay, fine. And then he blows up the whole Raven Rock. And then Colonel Autumn's like, you get a fucking Enclave. And it's like, just, what do you mean fucking Enclave? Your boss told me to genocide everyone and I'm doing it. What else do you need?
It's good that you were able to fulfill his last will and testament, that you didn't just blow him up and then walk away.
It's the kind of thing that the writing is so shit that it's almost good. Because it's almost like, oh, you have all these complex options to interact with the Enclave, and you basically fracture it into 3 sections, and it's like, well, no, it's not that you do that, it's that there's no fucking story to do anything with. It's just fucking stuff. Just the shit happens, and then it ends.
It's just
shapes
like
life.
And colors.
If I wanted life, I would go outside. Wouldn't be playing fucking Fallout 3.
You'd be playing Fallout 4 instead.
Playing Fallout 3 is pretty much the same as going outside right now anyway.
I guess Fallout 4 is kind of like going outside because it's tedious and pointless and there's literally no reason to even touch it.
Yep.
Unless you want to hurt yourself.
I wouldn't say that. I'm already immune, so I'm good. I'm a ghoul.
Yeah.
Which means you don't have to eat or drink.
Yeah, exactly.
Or,
did they explain that, by the way?
No.
Cool.
The settlers that are ghouls in your settlements.
Does that carry over to 76 as well? Or
there's no fucking people.
Didn't they add people though? Like a year later, they were like, "Oh, we're adding people."
Yeah, but if you add something to an MMO game server and there's no one online, does it really exist?
Well, it does because someone had to add it.
I wish I had more to say.
This changes everything.
Changes everything. Well, what do you?
He was right about the crystals.
What do you think of Fallout?
Fallout. Ryan? The games I played were cool. I
like the PS2 one.
Some of them are bad.
Not the PS2 one.
I really want to play the first 2 because I know they're good, but I gotta get past that 90s PC game jank.
Yeah.
I like Fallout New Vegas. I used to like 3 when I was stupid. Before I watched H Bomber Guy. And then
before someone had to tell you what to think.
4 when it came out. But then I kind of was like, this sucks.
The true patrician
is the only good game.
The true patrician take is to watch the videos of people shitting on Fallout 3 and be like, yes, all of those are absolutely right. And then you still enjoy it because it's a dumb game that actually has fun parts of being a dumb game. Unlike Fallout 4, which is a dumb game that is just designed to be as fucking tediously dumb as possible. It's just fucking settlements, man.
Another settlement needs your help.
Don't you love these city management mechanics shoveled right into the center of this survival simulator?
Survival simulator, is that what it is?
Well, it's the survival of the player, not the in-game character.
Right. Instead of radiation, it's the gun on my desk.
Mm-hmm. It's how long are you willing to survive playing the game? It's a brilliant masterpiece. Going back to Psychonauts, I was talking with someone the other day, and they mentioned how I don't even know how it's possible to have this take, but they were of the mind that they didn't like the game because they didn't like all of the cutscenes that were put into it.
Yeah.
I couldn't even finish that because it was so stupid. You couldn't hear it, folks, but that was the sound of Dunk's jaw hitting the floor.
I'm trying to... This is why I can't...
Just don't. Don't hurt yourself.
This is why I can't... Look, I don't want to be ableist, all right?
But people
I'm
are
starting
retarded.
to think that retardation is like killing me. Like the existence of mental retardation is like actually going to kill me. It's like draining my life force away, which I guess is fine because I'm not important. But just letting you know, I think the inability of people to be not terrible is currently killing me. One day I will just be dead.
Speaking of people being terrible, I have my next picks ready. And I say picks because
we're only an hour and 5 minutes into the pod. We still have a good 40 minutes.
I have nothing.
Fucking
Banjo-Tooie.
unrelated video game discussion. A Banjo-Tooie discussion.
Another Banjo. Okay.
That sounds like the pinings of someone who needs to fucking play the games.
Or we could talk about the Napoleon Dynamite movie game, or we could talk about...
well, that's actually like a good game. I think we should reserve that for something else.
Yeah.
We could talk about how Mafia 3 is underappreciated. We can talk about...
One thing I liked when I was younger, but I'm more ambivalent on as an adult just because of the way the mechanics are implemented as survival games. And I think I talked about it before, but I played a lot of Lost and Blue back in my time before I had to work and do other stupid horse shit. And even though those games were frustrating as all hell and didn't make a whole lot of sense, they were still fun. Because unlike in real life, if you didn't eat for a day in that game, then you were guaranteed to die the next day if you didn't search for food, which is not how it works in real life.
Yeah.
Never tried it.
Never tried it. Where's the mod that adds survival mechanics to Deus Ex 1? Just poorly staples them in there.
You guys can talk about Deus Ex. You've been playing that a lot.
You're just eating candy bars and shit.
Candy bar. I mean, Deus Ex is good. I've talked a lot about it before. Human Revolution is also good. I like the direction that they took it. It's I don't know. It feels less of an action RPG and more there's like they kind of tone down the RPG aspects, which is a shame to me because I like complexity, but it's fine either way because as Dunk said before, it's for babies, so And I'm still terrible at certain sections of the game.
I mean, it's not that the game itself is for babies. It's that it was made
by babies
to blend into an era where the tropes of the era, or like the trends of the era, are all for babies. So it's just kind of this weird, like, indirect babification.
So it's the 90s again.
Maybe isn't even necessarily intentional. I don't know.
So it's the 90s era, like Baby Looney Tunes, Baby Flintstones, Baby the Wizards of Oz. That's such a weird trend. Such an odd trend. Only thing I'm not a huge fan on is the yellow.
It's very pissy.
I feel like I probably would have liked it better if it was the original version and not the director's cut, because it seems like everything's kind of more gray than yellow.
Yeah.
Fun fact, did you guys know that the color that hurts to look at the most is yellow?
Damn, is that why it's my favorite color?
Because I was about to say I like things that hurt me when I look at them.
It's an imperceptible amount of pain, but yes. Yeah. Unless you can feel it. Which I would be surprised at.
I don't know, it adds a very small percentage to my pain index that's always
I guess pain isn't
very
the right
high.
Pain isn't the right word. I should say strain on the cornea. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot you both were ophthalmologists.
Just like my eyes were strained watching Circus Savage for
Shut
so long.
the fuck up, Ryan. We're in non sequitur video game time. We can talk about a movie next week, you fucking asshole.
I think I might know what your pick is.
I have two. And surprisingly, they're two full-length films, and they are less than half the length of Circus Savage.
Well, that's not surprising in the least.
So I just thought that was funny.
What's the deal? Do we have to watch both of them? Is that
they're one's a classic film from the 70s, and the other's a poor 2000s remake.
Oh.
Featuring one Johnny Depp.
Okay. I think I might know what it is.
So I chose Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yep.
And Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Because I've seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory countless times for some reason. Because someone just showed that to me a lot as a kid. And I only watched the Willy Wonka like once. And I want to watch it again.
Well, was that in recent memory or when you were a kid and you just don't remember?
Like when I was a kid. Like I saw like the scene of Charlie's mom singing and like his like granddad dancing, and that was all I remembered.
Hey, Soy, do you know where I can get some cyanide for unrelated reasons? Do you know where I could maybe...
Local pharmacy. Okay. They keep it in the back in a vault. You have to hack it though. Do you have security level 3 unlocked?
Yeah.
If you need it, I can send you an Axis kit.
It's fine. I've got some nukes laying around.
I'm making a new mod for Human Revolution. It changes all references to Praxis kit with Axis kit, and there's just a little swastika on the little pack.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That has a really good payoff.
Yeah,
for sure. Definitely worth the time and effort spent to make it do that. For sure.
It's the gateway to a brighter future, you know? My mantra is work provides freedom, in all honesty, you know?
I disagree.
I don't know. Why don't you ask those people? Those people.
I would have gone with the bit if it wasn't so against my anti-effort ideology too.
Oh, I see. You would have been a great addition to Auschwitz.
He sure would have.
Well, yeah. Work provides freedom. That's what's outside Auschwitz in German.
I have a really sick fantasy about being horribly victimized like that. Because then I can just be like, how about go fuck yourself?
Well, because then you can point at something and pin your suffering as being a result of that.
Sure, that's one thing, but also I can just, like, my reckless disregard for all human life, including and especially my own, just be like, how about go fuck yourself? I'm not going to do that.
Well, yeah.
And then just, like, sit down and then let them, like, kill me or beat the shit out of me or whatever. That sounds fun.
Most people would appreciate being able to pin their blames all on one person. Why am I depressed? It's because of these yokai that are following me around.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's what the Japanese believed. Well, as part of Shintoism, is that bad feelings were caused by spirits that were hanging around.
It's not that it's just my default state of being.
Well, sounds like you need to get a yokai watch.
To be on the perpetual lookout for cyanide dealers on the street. Yo, what's up, man?
I don't deal in Zyme.
Yo, what's up, dog? You trying to quickly die so that the U.S. government won't find out any information about you because you're a spy and you lost your cyanide pill and now you need another cyanide pill from me on the street who you came to find. So before they don't, but somehow you got away from them. They were about to catch you, but you still need to, because they might catch you now, and you need to. I'm your hookup if you got that situation.
I'm a member of the Black Hand, and I tried to take my cyanide pill, but the dosage was too low, and I couldn't die. I'm the one that shot Archduke Ferdinand. And I couldn't kill myself.
Yeah, dude.
That's what actually happened, by the way. One of the members of the Black Hand tried to kill himself with his cyanide pill, and he couldn't because the dosage was too weak, and the police caught him.
Oof.
It's been a long time since I've read it, but if you want to chuckle, read the details behind like what actually happened during the assassination, because it's a series of comic fumbles. Like the they only managed to shoot him because it was at the end of all these other things that were supposed to happen before. It's just like, oh, we finally got him. Well, two of our other guys jumped off a bridge and they drowned in the river. One other guy got shot and he fell off a building and broke his neck. And stuff like that.
The biggest punchline of all being World War I itself, where millions of people died senselessly for no real reason.
And the real context is that it was the first episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The gang tries an assassination.
The gang inadvertently sentences millions of people to death.
The gang commits war crimes.
There were no war crimes.
I think it's about time I got suited up with these argumentations. Ricky, what are you talking about? Those things will fuck you up for life. You'll get a lifelong dependency on neuropozyne.
Mm-hmm. Deus Ex Trailer Park Boys. We can do this for 40 minutes. We can fill 40 minutes with Deus Ex Trailer Park Boys.
Who said 40 minutes needed to be filled?
Oh, yeah, you're right. We should do an hour and 40 minutes.
Who said this podcast didn't need to end at like 8 minutes?
No, it needs to go for 10 hours and 42 minutes. And
I think, I agree with that. That's
Is that the thing where we're matching the runtime of the film?
I think that's a great idea, dude. Let's just start doing that.
Yes, this oddly specific time that I keep referring to that is close to the length of the film that we just watched. Maybe. Actually, it's just referring to me watching Charlie and the Chocolate Factory 10 times.
Oh, what a cruel fate.
There's definitely worse remakes, though, I feel. RoboCop.
There is.
Because the
SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom rehydrated.
I think it's the biggest quality drop. But
Resident Evil 3.
We'll save it for the next episode.
Silent Hill 2 and 3 HD collection.
Yeah,
Again, RoboCop remake. That's a
Dark
bigger
Souls
quality
remastered.
Dark Souls remastered wasn't that bad.
I don't know. Net play.
I mean, I like that you can play with the 144 hertz refresh rate, but I would have liked it more if they gave it away to free to people who already own the original and also didn't take the original off the store.
Yeah, that was
better.
That's some business practices.
FromSoft, more like from.
I feel like you could. I feel like you could almost.
Eyeball.
I feel like you could maybe mod in 144 hertz into the original Dark Souls if you know what to do.
I don't know what to do.
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to Ryan. He's the secret techno hacker.
Of course.
Yeah.
He's
watched all of Mr. Robot, okay?
Yeah.
And he paid attention.
I'm the only one who watched Mr. Robot twice.
Ryan, do you even know how to safely delete System 32 without breaking your system?
Yeah, of course. I'll show you.
All right.
If you could demonstrate, please.
We'll do screen share.
Actually, delete Dunk's first, and then delete yours.
Yeah, I'll give you access to my computer. You have an application that you can do desktop share.
He doesn't need to. He could just send you an email, and then it'll have.
Okay, yeah.
It'll have a script embedded in it, and then once you do that, he can get access to your webcam and keyboard.
All right, I don't remember which email I gave you, but I have childporn69@mail.com. I have that one open, so you can just go ahead and send it over.
Surprised that one wasn't taken already.
That was a hostile takeover, this account, because I really wanted that title.
What's the name of...
I mean, the guy was just a fucking pedophile anyway, so,
What's the name of that... It's Mary something, who worked with Epstein and got all of the kids.
You mean Ghislaine Maxwell?
That's right. I don't know why I was thinking Mary.
Which is, like, kind of funny, because if you look at the way her name is spelled, it's almost like Jizz Lane. Like, it's the lane that all the jizz went into. It's like, it's her pussy is the lane.
It's Elaine. It's Elaine from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And then there's that tweet of the former Reddit CEO being like, "Yeah, I knew about that happening, but I didn't say anything."
I was just chilling. I was vibing,
just didn't
dude.
Care.
I was just trying to. The former Reddit CEO that was when Reddit had like a fucking jailbait subreddit. I know because
she was the moderator.
So I mean, wait, is it the former or the current Reddit CEO? Because if it's the current, that's more surprising. But
it's
not more surprising, but it's more hypocritical because they've been like cracking down on anything vaguely age play on the entire fucking website.
I don't remember her name. Ellen Powell, ex-Reddit CEO.
Yeah, I was just chilling.
I didn't want to interrupt. They had
I
important business.
I need to pull up the actual tweet. She was at the Kleiner holiday party in 2011, but I had no desire to meet her, much less have a photo taken.
Dr. Kleiner?
We knew about her supplying underage girls for sex, but I guess that was fine with the quote-unquote cool people who managed the tightly controlled guest list.
Okay, but you were just gonna... Okay. I'm not gonna use my fucking giant social network platform to do anything about it.
The world is filled with great people, smart people, run by smart people. The most important people are the smartest. Anyway, I have to go.
You're the one who wanted to do this right now.
No, I know, but my mom
texted You're not ready for the 2 hours.
Hey,
You're not ready for the
fucking do this thing.
Keep going.
Tell your mom that I can dig her down later after the podcast. Seriously.
What?
Okay? We don't have time for this shit.
You have to. You can fucking do whatever. I don't. I'm time.
What was that about you being able to push Dunk over the edge for suicide? That was.
I want to see it.
You know what? I would
try.
Honestly,
do it.
I would respect if you'd managed to do it.
Because I
would never see it coming.
Because there's not a good method around here, so he's on kind of hard difficulty mode. Because like if I actually had like a revolver sitting right next to me, then that would be like very easy difficulty. But it would be like really a real fucking pain in the ass.
Well, it's like
so.
To make an obscure reference, it's like at the end of Harvester, there's a puzzle where you have to play a guy in chess in order to get a key from him, and you can just opt to skip the puzzle and just do a shitty combat sequence, which is great if you don't know how to play chess. But the weird thing about it is that if you do the chess solution, it plays the death animation that happens when you kill him in combat, like he just fucking explodes as soon as you win the chess game. I don't get it.
Pretty good.
It's weird.
Sick.
That game is weird. That's my next pick for next week. Harvester.
Unfortunately,
I've just overridden your choice.
Unfortunately, the only game I have ever played and ever will play is Dreamweb, and I only play Dreamweb over and over again on a loop.
When was the last time you loaded that game? I think it was last year, right?
There's no way it was that long ago, right?
It was like 3 months ago when I was playing Silent Hill 4.
And I just use gun.
Use gun.
The game would be better if you could just use gun all the time.
Use
but
stop
can't.
On audio track.
Ha 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 ha! Ryan's trying to turn his fucking betrayal of the podcast into a joke to try and trivialize it.
I'm gonna add a new segment to the podcast. It's ASMR D&D. Okay. Now we're going to do some stat rolls. Okay, is that good with
you? We just keep adding bullshit segments until the podcast is like 18 hours each episode because we have to go through each one of them.
We're going to do some stat rolls. Okay, the system uses 4d8. Drop 1. Oh wow, you managed to get a 69. How's that even possible on a d8? Does that mean that you want to... Now, what is that? Are you, like, rubbing a pencil up against your microphone?
I'm rubbing a D20 on the mic.
You have a D20?
Yeah.
When'd you get that? Was that a recent purchase for the tabletop thing?
No, I just had it sitting around. I got it for a very highly specific purpose that hasn't actually seen much use.
Which is to throw at people?
Deciding which human experiments I'm gonna do. Like you know, you ever see those? Like you ever read the Mangala notes, and it's like he's got a bunch of creative ideas for a while, and then it sort of tapers off, and it's eventually just like, well, what happens if I put him at 213 degrees Celsius instead of 200? And it's just, it's just kind of the same thing. One burnt baby is another burnt baby, et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of just the same shit. I'm trying to come up with some new, fresh ideas for human experimentation. I'm sick of the same old, just torture. I mean, like we have horror movies now, and it covers all these same bases. We got to really start innovating.
Come on, step it up.
So I'm thinking porridge made of newborn juice.
Newborn
is the
juice.
First step. Yeah.
No. What do you mean by newborn juice? Is that?
Well, that's the thing is we got to deconstruct the concept of an experiment. It's got to become looser, almost sort of improvised.
Like it isn't a real thing that's placenta? Happening. Is that what it is, or do you juice the baby?
Really, what I do is the biggest experiment that I'm doing is testing the underlings that work for me by telling them that I want newborn juice, and providing them with a supply of pregnant women. They sort of just...
And they just feel it out. It's
they interpret it, yeah.
It's actually a psychological experiment.
Yeah. It's layers.
I don't know why, but it reminded me of the joke from Parks and Rec, where they're discussing like soda size regulations, where it's like small, medium, large, and child size. Why is child the biggest one? Oh, because it's roughly the contents of a 2-year-old child if they were liquefied. Oh. Okay. That's the sound they make, too. Well, actually, it's the sound in Deus Ex whenever you jib someone, and you hear all the meat piles spray.
Yeah.
Can you jib? You can't jib people in Human Revolution.
No. It's trying to be realistic.
That's a shame.
There's no bloody mess perk.
I just realized there's no, like, other than the takedown stuff, there's no real melee. There's no melee weapons or anything.
There's
it's all
not, which
punching. You do get blades, though, which is cool. I wish there were data spikes, but we can't have everything. It should have totally been data spikes.
Data spikes, and then when you do a blade takedown on an enemy, on an augmented enemy, you can like absorb information.
Yeah, it's like the BP thing from Metal Gear Rising: Revenge, and
that would be really cool because then you could because really there is no incentive to do the lethal takedown because the only practical reason is that they might get woken up, but that usually doesn't happen.
Yeah,
you could add a practical reason to do the lethal by having you like absorb data from the fucking augmentation, like while they're still active right before the fucking guy dies, because you just jabbed it right into his head.
It'd be like Remember Me.
Be like, what?
It'd be like...
What is that?
It'd be like Redacted.
Not just... But the word. Too.
God damn it. Not just... But the word, too.
Welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts 2 is Overrated podcast. I'm your host.
Someone who...
Bubbles.
One of the 5 people who doesn't... Or probably not 5 people, but... One of the people who doesn't like Kingdom Hearts 2. Which is probably a sizable crowd. I haven't done the polls. I'm honestly... Even though I've played a decent bit of Kingdom Hearts... I still have no affiliation or attachment with the community whatsoever. My closest affiliation is reading guides posted by crazy people online. And by that I mean like the merge guides for Birth by Sleep, where it's either you pull the information from an existing guide that had that information supplied to them by the devs, or you read guides that are made by fans entirely from scratch, and those people are the crazies. Because it's like, damn, I couldn't even begin to do that. I applaud your effort. And then you have people like me who are like, well, I'm going to take this data, I'm going to put it into an Excel sheet because I want to be able to sort every single one of these columns. Because that's what I did earlier this year. Good use of my time. And the only other exposure I have to the community is Parking Lot Kingdom Hearts, which is... I feel like everyone needs to see that.
I've seen it. It's good.
Good. You're allowed into heaven.
It's an idea that gets so corrupted as soon as it continues to exist beyond its first entry. It's the only, like... I mean, I'm sure Birth by Sleep does interesting stuff, but, like, for me to actually find... the game charismatic, it has to be the initial push. As soon as it became like a profitable franchise, I'm like, I don't fucking, dude, just get out of here with the... Oh, but you press triangle sometimes now too, so it's like, I mean, that's combat. Is when you sometimes press triangle a bit.
I thought for a second you were talking about how Parking Lot Kingdom Hearts was gonna...
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure there's only one entry of that. There are people who have done their own versions of it as like parodies, I think. but there's no true sequel done by the original people.
I mean, you know that fucking guy that does the boneless pizza video? Remember that meme?
I do remember that meme, unfortunately.
That fucking guy has, like, multiple seasons of a series of him just trying to do boneless pizza again in, like, slightly
and even before then,
variations.
didn't he make, like, a fuck ton of videos before that?
And they're just so bad. It's just,
because it's
like,
the same joke.
But it's
the same, like, structure almost every time, from what I understand. And
the
only reason why people liked the boneless pizza one was because it was like, oh, this is a way I have not heard a pizza described before. This is wacky and zany. And it is said with bass-boosted voice, therefore it is also funny.
Yeah, but as soon as you push that into the mundane by doing it in 700 other variations, it loses all of its
Oh, well, yeah, I'm just saying
magic.
that's what I imagine people liked about it initially, was because it was that new phrasing, quote unquote, and then once that became mundane, it's like that whole fucking meme of bone ap the teeth. You remember that one?
Oh, shut the fuck up. I don't
remember that.
Hear about
Yeah,
that. I don't want to hear about that.
You guys know how French is hard to pronounce? You know how it sounds like words in English? It's crazy.
It's disgusting.
Fun fact.
I mean, it's
English borrows more from French and German than Latin.
It's basically steamed hams, where it's like people haven't actually watched The Simpsons, like the good Simpsons, and they don't realize that, like, the show is funny and has good jokes, and, like, almost all of those could be a meme if you wanted it to be. But instead, somehow only one makes it through the culturally diffusing gate, and it happens to be steamed hams, and so that gets overkilled to a ludicrous degree.
Because it could have been fucking Monorail Song, but now every time they say monorail, I replace it with the B movie.
Yeah.
The Monorail Song, but it's a 999 level or whatever it was. No, Ghost Trick, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Bart gets an F, but it's it's a Psychonauts cutscene.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing about it. It almost feels like trying to make a parody of, like, a comedy, which is already typically something that's exaggerated, and then you try to parodize it by exaggerating certain elements of it more. It usually by the basic formula is not great, but it's possible. People can do it. It's just people are terrible at doing things.
The steamed hams one, I feel like, was especially misguided, because I think of myself as somewhat of a cultural critic of memes, because there are memes that I think are good and have value relative to the conditions they were spawned from, and then ones that I think are kind of worthless. And the steamed hams one, I definitely think is kind of worthless, because, like, the foundation of it is that the Simpsons joke is funny. So, like, we're acknowledging that the Simpsons joke is funny, and yet we're still going to put it into these arbitrary scenarios and crossovers. The punchline of that, which was originally founded on the idea that the reference isn't funny. Like, the original concept of, like, forcing a joke into every conceivable franchise and license is based on that, quote, joke not really being a joke and not really being funny. It's like the Dat Boy thing, like the humor value in, like, having a Fallout mod where Dat Boy is there and it's really poorly created and it doesn't actually fit into the universe or anything, is because Dat Boy is not funny. And you still felt the need to put it into something. Like you have some serious respect for it or something. Like, that's the joke, I guess. Right. But with steamed hams, it's like you're actually laughing at the joke of steamed hams and then doing that anyway. And it just seems like a shitty mod on the Nexus that's like, someone's like, oh, I recreated the first episode of Friendship is Magic in New Vegas. And like, they tried. And that's just the whole mod. And like, okay. What's the But I mean, if you added a mod
like
to New Vegas that was a merchant that when you approached them, they spoke in deep fried and said boneless pizza, and then their inventory just had boneless pizza, and it broke all your limbs when you used it. That would actually be kind of funny.
I don't know. I feel like when I look at something that's aiming to be a recreation of something more than anything, I probably would look at it differently than something that's trying to tell a joke. Like if it was, oh, funny MLP map in Fallout New Vegas, and it was just a straight, just milquetoast recreation of the first episode or whatever, then yeah, I would say it's bad. But if the mod author is saying like, this is my recreation of episode 1 of Friendship is Magic,
yeah,
I'd probably feel less bad about it. I'd probably be more, I don't know, I guess I'd be ambivalent towards it. It'd be like, you know what, this is a good jumping off point to something else, because I feel like in something like that it would be a lot of that sounds like a test mod of like to gauge interest in a much larger scale project like the Fallout Equestria thing, where it's like, okay, I'm going to animate some pony models, I'm going to replace the NPCs with these models, add in some basic quests based on things that happened in the first episode, add a different UI, maybe, depends on the scope of the project. Very proof of concept-y. I guess the end point is, if it's gonna build to something later, then it gets the stamp of okay for me. But if it's just, Dat Boy, then it's not gonna. Maybe it will. Maybe it will build to something. If it was if the entire mod was a conclave of nothing but terrible memes, I would applaud it.
I think it would be cool if there was a mod that claims to do something really simple, but it actually does a whole bunch of like insidious minor shit behind the scenes, so that like there's emergent effects as you're playing the game. It's like, oh look, there's that boy in Good Springs. All right, let's move on and play the game now. And then there's just like haunted shit as you like creepypasta shit as you continue playing that sounds fun to me. But you would know by the file size, first off. Most likely. Well, maybe not.
I feel like if it was mostly scripting changes, you could probably keep it down pretty low.
Look, the point that I'm getting at here is that actual good comedy and joke structure does not have any place in modern meme culture, so much so that it's like magic and technology and arcanum. They're like the opposite poles of the spectrum.
Well, of course.
It's radical humor and radical anti-humor.
I mean, that's the point. I mean, the internet meme, as it were, is a subset of the greater concept of the meme, of which real comedy is also a part of, too. It's just the way that those two ideas perpetuate is vastly different. Well,
because the Simpsons joke is ultimately, if you watch it in the context of the Simpsons episode, it's accessible. People can watch it and understand it. The whole point of like fucking, I'm trying to think of a better example, like a more up-to-date, more nihilistic, more ironic meme to select. But the whole point is that like it creates the illusion and the connotation and the subtext of being culturally important without ever substantiating itself.
I suppose what it would be if, let's say you have a friend who's like a big art enthusiast. We'll say they're also very basic for the purposes of this. And you get them a copy of the Mona Lisa, but it's a copy that only covers about 1/10 of the portrait. It's not in a corner. It's not in the center. It's somewhere slightly off to the upper right, off center, and you frame that and you give it to them. That's what it is. That's all it is.
That sounds so good. Actually, I think your example has superseded what you meant to illustrate with it.
But here's the thing. You do that, and it's great. Then everyone else does it. And they don't even pick different sections of that picture. It's the same section of said
But that's funny. That's the funny bit, is that they've now inflated the importance of this one, like, insignificant shot. Just because it's part of a whole that used to mean something. And this is just the one that was convenient to be culturally diffused, is this bit where you can see, like, part of a right cheek, but it's mostly just background. And it's just... And just to have that be a recognizable image that's in hundreds of households, that's hilarious. That's better than most memes. That's a good bit.
Yeah, I mean, I was, But
you can't do an example because, like, the only thing that has the right context that it can exist as a meme is the thing that exists as a meme. There's really like abstract understanding of it.
I mean, you could do the example of "We Are Number One." That same shit happened with that. Although I give that more credence because that's a song, and most of those memes were people just like changing the song or the tempo or the way it was sung. I give it more credence and more artistic liberty than steamed hams.
Yeah,
it wasn't a whole lot of evolution.
But I guess I think that We Are Number One might just be kind of an evolution of Cooking by the Book, where it's like, or not even necessarily an evolution, maybe even a devolution, because it's like Cooking by the Book, as I understand it, was the original because it has the Little John track, and it was like, what are other Lazy Town songs we can use that would be funny if we combined them with it? Like that. I mean, that already felt like artifice, I guess, to me.
Well, people have been doing that even before then. Like, there's the Little Einsteins track with that one really basic rap like backtrack or whatever it's called, where it's just they don't even change the actual song; they just put the backtrack over it, and that was really popular.
Yeah.
Maybe something happened. I feel like something did happen in late 2016 that did actually spur that popularity of that song, or just Lazy Town in general. I feel like there was an impetus to that. I could be entirely wrong. But I don't think it just jumped out of the Little John remix. I mean, it's a part of it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no,
it is a
right.
piece, but there may be... What I'm saying is that, Bob Page met with Walton Simons and they were like, we got to get this video. We got to get these videos to the front page of YouTube.
I'd be interested to see what you think. I don't know if you've seen these videos that are like 21st century humor, and it's just kind of like a nihilistic sprawl of shit with no real order to it, and it's unique in that the stated intent is to be unfunny. Like, that's almost the direction we're at now. Is it's like it's the abstract idea of, oh, this is what humor is going to be like because it's just random, disconnected, nonsensical bullshit. That's what it's going to be like. And then people are watching it and being like, this is hilarious. And
yeah, part of that feels like the rapid increase in communication that's happened over the past 20, 30 years.
The best thing about the past 20, 30 years, I might add, because we're getting close to understanding the universe. If we keep going in circles, we will eventually reach the core. It's like a drill.
It feels like more of a fractal situation to me. We think we're reaching an endpoint, but it just expands into something bigger.
This is where I have you watch a YouTube video on the podcast that the audience can't see or hear. And then
How long have we been going? An hour 49, huh?
Or I guess we could end it and then talk about 21st century humor.
Do you have any final thoughts on Circus Savage?
No. If anything, I have anti-thoughts.
How would you classify an anti-thought?
I'm not prepared to answer that question at the moment.
I see. Well, if you had to ascribe a rating of sorts to it, what would you give it? Would it be stamps? Because I'm still having trouble.
7,000 out of infinity.
Yeah, I'll give it a post-it note out of an envelope. That's my final rating.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Then people will figure out, well, does that mean that there's not a lot of content that goes into the envelope? Does that mean that what is this statement? Wow, I'm so vain that I'm thinking people are gonna deconstruct my statements as they listen to this.
Alright, I'm stopping it.
I'm stopping it too. Good bits. I'm not sure if this part will be included, but if it is, my social security number is